Hey guys, it's Bix. Welcome to Mentoring Monday. I'm still in beautiful Park City, Utah. Kind of a tough topic today. Today I want to talk about the 7 mentalities that keep you poor. In the last 3-part topic of Do You Love Your Job, I talked a great deal about how important it is to surround yourself with successful and knowledgeable people. People are experienced in the areas where you want to go and where you want to grow and succeed. People that will pull you up. So on this topic, I'd like to mention, do not hang around with poor people. And by that I mean, the definition of poor is not necessarily not having money. That's just one form of poor. There are many forms of poor. Today I'll share with you the 7 mentalities that keep most people poor. I personally have lived some of these mentalities. Fortunately, I've recognized some of these self-limiting mentalities and worked hard to meet the right people to help me improve. For me personally, I have been financially poor. I remember when I was in college, I had to borrow money from a neighbor so I could pay for the gas to drive home from college after the academic year ended. I went to college about 600 miles away from my home. Once I graduated, I had to borrow $2,500 from my new employer so I could set up my apartment for my first job out of college. I started with nothing and did not have the advantage of my parents giving me money and paying for college or other expenses. For that, I'm grateful. They taught me the value of hard work and earning my own living. They taught me the value of not blaming and taking responsibility for my own actions. And only I could initiate positive change. So think about how many of these 7 mentalities that keep most people poor that you have. Acknowledging we have a problem is the first step to solving and improving the problem. Also, how many of these people do you have around you, and what are you going to do about it? Okay, so let's get on with the 7 mentalities that keep most people poor. Number 1, poor in spirit. You know people who all day just walk around and look defeated? They say, why bother trying? They've lost hope. Maybe they've been burned before. Or maybe they failed and made mistakes and they've all but given up. Maybe they say it can't be done, it's impossible. What's the use in trying? They're telling you why it can't be done. They're just poor in spirit. Over time and through a lot of hard work, I've learned that when I hear a no, the fun begins. I figure out how to make it a yes, or I find a new and better opportunity from a no. Number 2, poor in love. I honestly think that most of us just don't love ourselves enough. I'm not talking about self-arrogance. I'm talking about self-love. Because growing up, we often didn't get enough love from other people. Do you know people who don't trust other people from too many failed relationships? They don't want to get hurt. I believe that hurt people often hurt other people. Look at all the people on Facebook who hurt other people with their hateful comments, even to complete strangers. They're hurting inside. There's no joy. There's no life. Life without love means very little. How do you give love if you don't love yourself? You can't give what you don't have. I always ask myself, what did I learn from this bad experience? What could I do better in the future? I forgive myself and I use bad experiences to grow and improve. I love myself for giving it 100%. And even when I failed, I've gained knowledge and wisdom. All right, number 3, poor in wisdom. There are people who are dumb. I don't mean that in a bad way. There are people who know they're dumb. There are people who are dumb and think they are smart. I call these people know-it-alls. And there are people who are smart who are playing dumb. You want to be in this 4th type. Because if you're constantly learning and growing because you don't know it all, life's so much more enjoyable. How many people do we know that are know-it-alls? I can't stand being around them, to be honest. But I find myself sometimes acting like a know-it-all. I appreciate it when my wife or somebody tells me I'm not listening or I'm acting like a know-it-all. So learning, growing, and gaining wisdom makes life so much more enjoyable. As human beings, we want to keep growing and learning every single day. So how do you feel when you talk to someone who constantly complains, talks about the weather, the past? These kind of people are often tasteless, lack depth, and shallow, just not very interesting. So keep learning, keep growing. Number 4, poor in character. They lie, cheat, steal. They lack integrity. They promise to do something and don't do it. These are people you can never count on. I've said before, the best way to build your brand is a brand of integrity. Make a promise, keep a promise. Do this over and over and watch your brand grow. Stay away from people who lack character. Trust me, I know this. You can't fix them. Number 5, poor in habits. They're lazy, they procrastinate, they value comfort instead of freedom and success. They take drugs, smoke, drink excessively, don't eat healthy, don't get enough exercise. Sure, we all get into a rut sometimes. I've done some of those things myself. But to achieve long-term success, we must develop healthy habits. Stay away from the people with bad habits. We're a product of our environment. We cannot help but be negatively influenced. Successful people just have better habits, especially daily habits. What's the easiest way to quit a bad habit? Replace it with a healthy habit. Number 6, poor in attitude. What is most contagious is a negative attitude. Have you ever noticed how complainers and people with negative attitudes always reach out to people to join them? Misery loves company. They are energy drainers. They drain the life out of you, suck the energy out of you. Whenever you finish a conversation with them, you're just drained due to all the BS and negativity. Run from these kinds of people. I became one of these kind of people when I sold my company. I noticed how people started not to want to be around me. In a previous topic, I talked about the ACE method, ACE, accept, change, or exit. I could not accept my new role in the company, so I tried to change it, but could not do it. So actually I exited the company and became much happier and more positive with my new life outside the company that I built and I sold. All right, number 7, poor in finance. They don't know how to make money. They don't know how to save money. They don't know how to invest money. They don't know how to budget and to live within their means. And therefore, they have no money, poor in finance. They're not willing to spend time in the areas of money to get out of this very difficult situation. You must spend time learning how to make and manage money. So how many of these poor people do you have in your life? And I'm talking beyond just money. How many of these mentalities do you have? Truth be told, I've had some of these mentalities in my life when I was younger. Fortunately, I eventually recognized them and realized they were holding me back. So I worked hard to improve. It's okay if you have some of these mentalities. I'm not trying to put anybody down. It's not okay if you complain about not improving and choose to not change. Big topic today. Sorry if I struck a nerve in any of you, but if this topic helps you recognize and improve, then it was worth it. So until next week, this is Big signing off. Remember, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. Cheers.